other different types of dementia, and depending upon where the difficulties lie, that in the illness determines the course of treatment.
You can. All you have to do is want to do it.
Yes.
Want to be it.
When you set your mind to it, and this is who you are, and
the grown men. We have the youth that we need to mentor, and we need to inspire, and we need to motivate. But I know, as a recent conversation between you and I, that you're also in the business of motivating grown men. Through that, I'm supposed to see God in it at every turn. So me going to the Sea of Galilee was to remind me of that, to refresh myself of that. It is all under control, that He does have it. It's just as clear as that fresh water that I saw.
You're Our Unity, hosted by LeShawn Walker, Tuesday nights, 6 p.m. PST.
Welcome, everyone, to You're Our Unity, a show that wishes to spread a spirit of peace and love in the world, one conversation at a time. We want to encourage you to celebrate all of the women in your life. We want you to honor them, those who have sacrificed, those that get up every single morning and have to handle a career, a job, and then a family and children, nurturing their community, giving back and serving. I want you to honor all of those women who are making an impact, not only in your life, but also the world. I am your host, LeShawn Walker. I'd like to welcome you in. Please like, share, and follow. Let everyone know that we're on right now. Happy March, everyone. I cannot believe that it crept up on us so soon. I feel like I was just in January celebrating my birthday, but I'm still celebrating because it is Women's History Month. And I hope that you guys are out there, as I mentioned earlier, celebrating all the wonderful, beautiful women in your life. Women's History Month is a celebration of women's contributions to history, culture, and society, and has been observed annually in the month of March in the United States since 1987. Now, this month is to reflect on the often overlooked contributions of women to the United States history. So while we're, celebrating those from the past, Rosa Parks and Susan B. Anthony, and, people that have contributed to our rights, female women rights, and the progression of our equality and justice, all of those women are actually still in front of us today. I've introduced you guys to many trailblazers and history makers on the show, young Celine Ferdinand and Amaru, and we had Belinda here, all of these amazing people that are contributing to the progression of women in this world. So though we have Michelle Obama, and we also have Malala and Ketanji, and we have Greta, we also have those people right in our backyard, those in our community that are giving back, that are serving, that want to contribute to the betterment of this world. I hope that you're celebrating those that you see every single day. Honor them and reverence them. Let them know that you see them. Let them know that you are here to help them in the fight. Let them know that, you got their back. So that's what I've been doing. I've been celebrating women. One in particular actually is my mom. I've been celebrating her because of the sacrifices that she made for my brother and I. She lived in Virginia, and, it was a hard upbringing that she had to endure, and, victim of racism and injustice, and also part of the civil rights movement. And she moved to New York because she sought a better life for us. She didn't want us to have to experience, any type of injustices or any type type of oppression. She wanted us to have a good education. She wanted us to see that there was hope. She wanted us to see that there was better for us in this world. And she wanted to give us the education and the environment to do that for us to thrive. So I want you guys, as I mentioned, to just really celebrate those women who have taken the time to pour into you, to nurture you, to help you, to guide you, to inspire you. Those that sacrificed everything that they could, maybe even their sanity, their peace of mind, to make sure that you had a better one. So again, as I mentioned, I'm all about celebrating this month. And we are also in the midst of celebrating something wonderful, a dream, a Gandhi and King dream. Starting from January 30th all the way to April 4th, we will be celebrating the nonviolence, the season of nonviolence. So as we've been celebrating women's rights, I also have two amazing guests here who are all about activism and advocating for those less fortunate, those that are in this world looking for a better path, and more importantly, those out there that need to be heard. They want to be their voice. So I have an amazing gentleman here, and the title of the show is Learn, Lead, and Serve. And we're going to be speaking to Mr. Lindy Peter Crescitelli. He is a renowned facilitator, educator, communication, and conflict resolution specialist. Mr. Crescitelli is the co-founder of the Institute for International Leadership, Nonviolence and Service, Learn, Lead, Serve Incorporated, and co-chairs on Mahatma Gandhi, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Season for Nonviolence Organizing Committee. For several years, he has been utilizing his diverse skill sets as an active NGO United Nations representative for Pathways to Peace. Mr. Crescitelli has presented numerous times at the United Nations, has prepared many young people to attend and to participate at the UN, including for the International Day of Peace. Mr. Crescitelli served throughout the United States as lead educator for American Civil Rights Educational Services. He also co-founded the Stand Up and Lead initiative that, among other things, addresses bullying and diversity in learning environments. As a community organizer, advocate, and activist in densely populated New York City, he led successful efforts saving acres from development to be preserved as much needed parkland, and organizing buses from the New York tri-state area to a peaceful anti-gun violence demonstration that was one of the largest March on Washingtons in U.S. history. He also continues to work with numerous other community, corporate, and educational institutions in many places on diverse projects in various capacities. He's here to discuss the reason for the season for nonviolence. Please help me welcome Mr. Lindy Crescitelli. How are you?
I'm great, LeShawn. Thank you for that amazing introduction. Wow, thank you.
Thank you. That is all you, my friend. I appreciate it. So again, I know you are so busy working, planning, and preparing for this amazing event that I am so excited to be a part of and attend. I was told by my friend, mentor, and my sensei, Shefik, that you guys hold this event every year and for the past 26 years. So I'm so excited to hear about it. And I want to delve right into it, but I want to also introduce Miss Shawn Denise Landry. She's going to have to read you her bio, ladies and gentlemen. I left it on the printer. So Miss Landry, please welcome and tell us a little about yourself before we begin.
So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shawn Denise Landry, and I am a licensed social worker. But I have been working with children who are at risk in marginalized communities and advocating for them to create their own futures and be empowered and enjoy all the rights that come with living in this country for approximately 30 years. I have always done volunteer work, not as extensive as Lindy, but my career is of service. And so I have worked with, the last 20 years, I have been working with the College of Staten Island Liberty Partnership Program, which is a New York State funded dropout prevention program.
Oh,
We help students stay in high school, but also graduate and have post-secondary goals and aspirations. And so that's what I've been doing.
wow, that's amazing. So again, thank you guys for being here. As I mentioned, these two here are on the committee for the Gandhi King Season for Nonviolence Committee. And this event is happening on the 28th. As I mentioned, my friend Shefik brought it to my attention. I've been sharing it with everyone that I know here on Long Island. I want every kid and their parent, their grandparent at this event. And so before we begin and discuss, what that event is and how important it is that everyone attends, please, Mr. Crescitelli, tell me first how you became an advocate, an activist for social justice and political activism.
Wow. I know you have an hour, but that's a long story.
Well, condense it for me.
I'll try to tie it into the topic at hand. My mother believed in what was going on in the civil rights movement in terms of the integration of the schools. And they came over as I'm only a second generation American. So my grandparents came over here, with an ideal of America, that it was like the place to be, and that it was a fruitful place, and started to discover that it had stuff that wasn't up there about its history that a lot of immigrants learned on the ground, including that Italian Americans at the time, for a lot of people, weren't considered white. There's books about that. There's topics about that. There's signs in history saying, no Jews, no blacks, no Italians, whites only, like, can apply for jobs and stuff like that. So, there's some of that. So my mother had a very empathetic view of things. She saw how there was discrimination for the immigrants, and became an advocate herself, for anti-discrimination. So when it came time to actually, the schools to be integrated, a lot of the people were ignoring the zoning. Like, you were supposed to, in New York, go to your zone school for a while, right? So that schools would actually be integrated, like what we're going to talk about, our keynote speaker, supposedly had done with Brown versus Board of Education back in the 1950s and 60s. But when I was a child, decades later, it was still that there were schools that were pretty much all black and schools that were pretty much all white. And Mama said, you're supposed to go to this school, and you're going to that school. And I ended up being the only one looking like this in my class. And you know what? For little kids, nobody knew. We just played, and it was probably around third grade their brothers and sisters started to say, what's that white boy doing here? And the attention to the world, that fast education started to pour in.
Right.
I know, Sean has almost the reverse in her situation of, education. So we're both kind of like still, and we still see it to this day. We go to schools sometimes, Sean and I, to do workshops where, I see the few brown faces look at Sean and be like, oh, I'm so glad she's here presenting, with him. So there's still a lot of that going on. The work still needs to get done. And it's not a mission to have a mission.
Right.
Like, if we're all God's children, if we're all going to benefit from each other in this crazy world, look at what diseases have been cured by people of color. Yeah. Look at what science has advanced by people of color. Look about some Italian contribution. Look at some Irish. It's like, what are we doing? Like, we need each other. We should be working with each other. And when we talk about, when we teach the history to the young people, they're like blown away. They sometimes will make the association and be like, wait a minute, you and LeShawn are like phenomenal educators together, phenomenal partners together, bringing us amazing programs. Do you mean to tell us you couldn't bring us on this bus together back then?
Yeah.
Mister, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And then they associate it with like where kids sit at lunch tables still to this day. Yeah. And then they start to, give those skills about, making a difference. So it's not like, to make a difference just to make a difference. It's like I see the joy added to my life by having true friends of all different ethnicities and all different skin colors, from having partnerships, from being educated by the people of the civil rights movement. So that is, a little bit of how, how I got into this.
I hear you. I hear your passion. Oh my goodness. That's actually me. Like when I was growing up, I didn't see color, and I was one of very few, Black students in my class, and predominantly around, Turkish and Chinese and things of that growing up in Jackson Heights. But I loved it. I loved it so much because it taught me how to learn about different cultures, understand different cultures. And it was an education. And till this day, I love learning about different people and about where they come from. We all aspire for the same thing. As you mentioned, God put us on the earth. We're all the same people. We just have different experiences. So Sean, tell me, which I'd love to mention, Sean Denise. My name is LeShawn Denise. So we have something in common.
Yes, we do. Yes,
How did you become involved in advocating for the youth and justice, social justice?
Well, it's just that living on Staten Island, people don't think that African Americans are on Staten Island. It's like, where did you guys come from? Yeah. However, we have the largest and the oldest community of free Blacks right here on Staten Island called Sandy Ground. Oh. And so the idea that there are places that I shouldn't be, and people letting you know where they think you belong, and having to explain to certain people, I'm here and you'll deal with it. And there were no free tickets. Right. And so advocating started with advocating for myself, because I have just as much rights to be here as you do.
Yes, you are absolutely
then
right.
Advocating for the students was, a voice for the voiceless. I am an avid history buff, but I come from a family of service. Right. My family has always given back to the community, worked with children in all different facets. My mother is a pastor, and so there are just certain responsibilities that come with living on this earth that you're supposed to help and assist and take care of, and in my case, empower others to be able to take care of themselves. Right. And so children have the least amount of power in the community. Right. All races of children have no power. They can't vote. They have no money. They are basically a commodity until they come of age. Yeah. And so they need someone to advocate for them. I got into this work because I wanted children to have a voice and someone to fight for them and someone to help empower them. And then I saw how entrenched systems were, where students weren't getting their rights, where we have all the laws on the books to protect everyone, and we have policies to protect people. But within that are certain entrenched institutional systems that come straight from 3/5 a person. Right. When you were able to legalize 3/5 a person, you went on a trajectory for the last 400 years that has put us in the positions that we're in right now. Yes. And so working with the students to let them see themselves where, no, you're not less than. Right. So assist them to not buy into the stereotypes. Right. Assist them with, I'm what they call neurodiverse. I'm on the learning disabled spectrum. And so, but you don't see that when you see me.
No, not at all. Not at all. Wow.
I am working on my doctorate and have a master's from NYU and working on my doctorate from Tulane School of Social Work. And what happens, thank you, what happens is that you see me as a Black female and you can have whatever suggestions you want. And then you see me through this lens of being neurodiverse. And then you really think I shouldn't be here.
Right. Yes.
And so when you're constantly fighting against people's implicit and explicit bias and their bullying, because at the end of the day, racism and discrimination is bullying.
Yes, it is.
and disrespect.
Yeah.
And then you watch children try to navigate these systems,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they need to be empowered, and they need to know that they have the absolute right to be where they are and to learn
Yes.
and to not be penalized twice as much
Yes.
and to not be suspended. If you get suspended for one day for doing something, then I should get suspended for one day.
Exactly. Yes.
And so they're going through these systems and they don't understand where these policies came from.
Right.
And they're breaking it down to the very basic.
Right.
And there's two things they need to learn. One, how to navigate so that the systems that are in place can't hold them in.
Right.
But the other thing is that there's a way to make change.
True.
You can be an advocate at a teenager. You can be an advocate at a 5-year-old. We have pictures of students that walked in the March for Our Lives that was an 8-year-old holding a sign that said, all I want to do is go to school and not be shot at.
Yes. I think we are teaching them early how to advocate for themselves these days. I really do. I feel because so many are standing up and speaking out and letting their voice be heard on so many different subjects and topics and on the TV and in the world because we're all being affected by it at one time and they have to see that, you know. So I love that. I love that, you know, you both are just all about empowering our youth, which is so very needed right now in this volatile world that we live in. Tell me, Mr. Crescitelli, I know that you are the founder of Learn, Lead, and Serve. What is that organization? And tell us a little about what its mission is.
So it's literally like, it's funny you show that picture. That was the first event Sean and I worked on together. Which
yes, it is.
Girls Empowerment event. So I love that you showed that at the right moment because that was part of the birth of Learn, Lead, Serve in its current form. It goes back quite a long time.
Okay.
We actually came up with the concept. George Anthony and myself came up with the concept for an Institute for International Leadership, Nonviolence, and Service in 2001, when we were working with young people in the wake of 9/11, and we had Muslim girls who were afraid to go to school, you know, wearing the hijab. We had so much ethnic tension. It dates back even earlier than that to our conflict resolution training, which all New York City schools had for a while after, you know, what happened in Crown Heights between people of color and the Jewish community. So there's like a lot of issues that built toward this. And then for a long time, we were doing the work. And it was like, you know, we really have to make this official. You know, we have to make it official. And part of it was getting the co-chair the Ghana King Season for Nonviolence. Okay. We needed an institute to do that. So when it came around, 2018, 2018 is when Sean and I had been working together on many things, including that first thing that you saw, that amazing girl self-esteem event. We were all on that stage. We brought all the audience up on the stage with us and all their moms and everything. So it's also appropriate for Women's History Month. And we loved working together so much. We saw that we, you know, had a partnership that might be being sent from somewhere else. Like it was just so logical. And when it came time to, you know, incorporate Learn, Lead, Serving, you know, I asked Sean to come on board and to partner with that. And so we brought the legacy people who had been doing the work for, you know, decades, even before us.
Right. We
brought young kids who we're working with onto our executive committee. And we formed Learn, Lead, Serve Inc. as a multicultural, interfaith, intergenerational, international leadership, nonviolence, and service organization. And we do that in every which form you can think of, through the arts, through trips, through education, through music, through dance, through history lessons. We made it as broad as possible for a reason. It's too important a mission to narrow ourselves. If you have an idea that can fit into the mission, Learn, Lead, Serve might be able to help you develop that idea.
I love that. I really do. So basically, let me ask you, how do the kids become involved? Is this a local community center? Is it that you are doing it virtually? Like, how do kids become involved
So
with the organization?
So literally,
All of the above.
yeah, it's international and local. We
Okay.
are working with young people right now at the event. There'll be a presentation with young people from all over New Jersey, from all over Staten Island. We've got young people from the Bronx we work with. We're communicating with people up there. And we actually, through American Civil Rights Educational Services, when I was lead educator for that, we traveled the entire East Coast, the Deep South, and we have connections there and sometimes reconnect with the communities there. So as Sean said, it's all of the above. We like to do local projects. We just were in communication with the Newark school system about them coming to the event, and local. We have representatives from Pennsylvania coming in, Harrisburg. So it's really, we mean it. It's international, interfaith, intergenerational, and you simply send us an email at how you want to be involved.
I love it.
We'll have a communication with you.
I love that. Sean, tell me about some of the programs or workshops that you guys do with the youth.
Currently, what we were working on was
Integrating how the students learn about history and bring it to life through dramatic expression and skits. And so they're working on something special about how to speak to historical figures that may be alive or not. How
Wow.
they would interview them. They also have we did the trip in the summertime of 22, where we went up to Rochester and met with Dr. Gandhi's grandson, Dr. Arun Gandhi. And they spent the day with him talking about what it's like to be nonviolent when you're being confronted with hatred and bias, and what Dr. Arun's experiences were, and what the current children's experiences are, and how do I live a nonviolent life in a violent world?
Yeah, I love it.
and so workshops through Liberty Partnership,
Which is the New York State program that's funded, that I am director for. We do a summer academy for college camp. And one of the things they do is civic engagement, communication skills, conflict resolution, the history of hip hop, performing arts and dance. And so they travel and they learn through this project-based learning. And so Liberty Partnership statewide is a state-funded program. So all of the services go to the students for free.
Right. Nice.
If there's a Liberty in your community, then if you're in that school district, then the services are free for you. And so we look at academic enrichment. Learning this history is important for identity, but it's important for your academics. In New York, you have to take the Regents.
Yeah.
And our keynote speaker has been a Regents question. And so anyone who has to go through U.S. history and U.S. history Regents and the AP exam, this is a once-in-a-lifetime experience to meet a living legend who can tell you what the history was in her lifetime.
Yeah.
and then how do you promote peace? Some people promote peace through art. Some people promote peace through speaking engagements.
Right.
Lindy and I work together and we teach people how to communicate with each other in a way that is respectful. Civility is such a limited resource right now.
Yes.
And it's coming out
Through illness, it's coming out through violence. And
a lot of people say COVID
was a pandemic for medical reasons.
Right.
But what that isolation did to the communities across the world was bring out the disparities.
Yes.
It has led to more people requiring mental health services, for which there is absolutely nothing wrong with, but the solution is that you have to give the services and receive the services so that you can heal.
Yes.
So that you can heal.
You're
and
absolutely
so
right.
teaching peace and nonviolence and communication
Skills is part of that healing, that it is okay to say, time out, I need a break.
Yes.
It is okay to take a moment and get your thoughts together. Everything doesn't have to be a reality show smackdown.
Exactly.
Everything does not have to be reported.
Yes.
Everything is not for that.
And so when you are fed a steady diet
Mm-hmm.
Of disparities and chaos and lack of
communication skills that are effective, then you, as they used to say, you are what you eat.
Exactly. I
So,
totally agree with that. Yes, I agree with
Lindy
that.
and I are
You're our Unity's message, and its whole mission is to just cultivate this community of people who reawaken and redefine that love that was initially instilled in them at birth. And it's, through our life experiences, it's through just living and living according to others people's standards, other than our own, unfortunately, at times, is what changes the core of who we are. And that's why we become some of these people that you just mentioned. And the disparages the things that are problems are exposed at that moment, when you're put under, such stress and such duress because of your environment and what's going on around you. So I totally agree with everything you said. And I want to learn from you, Mr. Crescitelli, how do we resolve conflict? Real quick, the quickest way that you can explain it. How can we teach that?
So we were just doing workshops with some of my favorites with the children's aid little kids in 3rd, 4th, and like 5th grade. And even the little ones can get it when you break it down, like you just said, simple. All a conflict is one set of basic needs smacks up against another set of basic needs, right? So I need to be funny because I'm not getting enough attention, or I think I want your attention. So I need to be funny. And Sean's there. So I make a joke because I need to be funny. The joke is at Sean's expense. Sean has a need to be respected like most human beings. My need for you to be funny smacks up against Sean's need for respect. We have a conflict. Nice. It's really that simple. The conflict in and of itself is neither good nor bad. It just is. That's just what happened. Wow. And now it's what we do about that. Do we have the skills for Sean to talk it out for me? Am I approachable for Sean to say, I know you were just trying to be funny, but you insulted me, and I need respect, and I can't be treated like that? And do I have the listening skills? Or do we not even know we have choices? Do we go, you insult me, it's on. It's on. Oh, no, it's on. You insult me. And that's what young people and some adults don't know, that you even have choices, don't even know how to deal with the conflict themselves. So we break it down as simple as that, as a certified conflict resolution specialist, and then we elaborate. And those skills, what are so great about them is they're transferable to every relationship. Yes. When we teach it to staff in schools, we say we're giving these skills to work with the young people, but it's going to help all your relationships in life, romantic, family. Like, the skills are life skills. They're so, so important. Yeah. And the other thing is, when you empower young people, and really even adults as well, with conflict resolution skills, and as Sean said, with the communication skills that are so critical to go along with those, you're also empowering them. You're opening up a new world. Through teaching conflict resolution skills and leadership skills and effective communication skills hand in hand, a lot of people do one or the other. We've had so many young people selected to represent the United States of America, literally from the pool of the world, at the United Nations, at the International Day of Peace. We've had several. You're going to see one on stage, doing a presentation at the event, at the Gandhi King event. So we've had young people whose worldview was this small, and what they thought was possible for them was this small. And then they're speaking at the United Nations. And you know how I know how big that is? My dad was a sanitation worker. He said that was a nice way of saying a garbage man and a janitor. And I've spoken at the United Nations. Wow. And so that's what's possible. Yeah. Not what you are born into, not what the world sees you as, what we see you as, and you just live into it, and we make that a reality. Yeah. And when you see a young person speak at the United Nations, literally they're on the world stage, and they just keep on going.
I love it.
And we've had students for the last 2 years in a row Two spoke virtually, and one young man was literally on the floor at the United Nations in the fall. And so these are students that wouldn't have this opportunity,
who didn't believe they could have these opportunities, all three of them,
Mhm.
and all from all three different walks of life. And
and the one thing they have in common is that they're amazing and that they believed it.
I love it. I
They
love it.
just had to believe that they were amazing
Yes. And I love
and
that.
then do the work.
And do the work. Exactly. I love that you're encouraging it. I love that you're building the platform for them to also thrive and speak and stand. And I love the mission. I really do. Learn, lead, and serve, because that's really what it's all about for us to become a better people. So I want to ask you, we have been talking about the season for nonviolence. You mentioned that you met with, is it the nephew of Gandhi, Arun?
His grandson.
His grandson. Yes.
So
Tell
the
me how
background,
this.
I
Tell
just
me
want
how
to
the relation. Tell me how the relationship developed between you and him, and you created you became a part of the Gandhi King season for nonviolence
yes.
organization.
So the Gandhi King Season for Nonviolence was formed in 1998.
Okay.
And it was formed by Dr. Arun Gandhi, Gandhi's grandson, and the King family. There's
Okay.
a great quote from Coretta Scott King, Dr. King's widow, at the first one, and it was formed at the United Nations. So how I became involved was as a young teacher. I was a classroom teacher for a while, and as a young teacher, I was invited to bring students to the Gandhi King Season for Nonviolence at the United Nations. And there were two real events at the time that had student involvement at the UN. And one was International Day of Peace, and one was the Season for Nonviolence. And I saw the impact it had on the students I brought and myself, just the event and the speakers and the connecting of history. And it went on at the United Nations for about 16 years. 16 years, the first 16 years was at the United Nations. And then people aged out, people moved away, politics come into play. And it was like, it doesn't have another home, and there's nobody willing to co-chair this event that has been so impactful and is celebrated all around the world and all around the country. And so my colleague and I said, wait a minute, really? No one's stepping up to co-chair this? And all our students were like, this can't die. This can't, we'll help. Some of them that were young adults now. And so we, met with the people who had been running it. And, Dr. Gandhi was the co-founder of it and stuff, and said, we're going to continue this. This can't die. And we got the support we needed from, everywhere. And so we now have been since first my colleague George Anthony and myself, and now Professor Sean Landry and myself, co-chairing the Gandhi King Season for Nonviolence for the past several years, beginning in 2014 was my first year as co-chair.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Tell me, Sean, about what this organization and what it does, what it actually does, especially on a yearly basis that you guys are actually putting on these events. I'm sure you're working all year long, right? Okay. So tell me a little about what you guys do.
Well, as you said very correctly, is that we work 12 months out of the year. But during the season of nonviolence is when people see us the most.
Okay.
And so what happens is that we have been meeting with young people and discussing who do we want to have for a keynote speaker since Thanksgiving. We've had small conversations. We've had large conversations. Last 2 years, we were able to have, but not this year, interfaith communications where we sponsored a Zoom conference for interfaith leaders to talk about the importance of peace and how it connects to faith and how it connects through unity and all different walks of faith.
Right.
And so we've had those conversations via Zoom back when Zoom was our only way to come out and play.
Right.
And so now what happens is every year that we have a group of people who are involved in helping plan this event, or their or their chairs or their speakers, they stay on and join the committee.
Wow.
And so then we have little events all over, like the Rochester event was students who had helped build the Learn, Lead, Serve that year and do all the background work, because
we have high school and college students and junior high school students. Right now, we just have high school and above
Uh-huh.
that are attending meetings on their phones and helping us plan.
Oh, wow.
And so everyone is involved. The beauty of Learn, Lead, Serve and the Season for Nonviolence is it's intergenerational.
Okay.
So our speaker was a teen in the 60s, in the 50s.
Yes.
She's interacting with teens now, helping design her itinerary, develop interview questions. They will be there as her what is the word I want to use? They're her assistants.
Okay.
While she's here in New York City that day, she will have someone assigned to her to help her navigate the whole day.
Nice. I love
So-
that. The organization,
everyone works
the
together.
event is on March 28th,
March.
I believe. Yes, March 28th. I believe we have a flyer about that. And also the guests. Tell me about the two guests that will be speaking. I know Dr. Elizabeth Eckford will be one of the speakers. Can you tell us real quick about her?
Yeah, so the reason the Season for Nonviolence is when it takes place is from January 30th, which is when Mahatma Gandhi was assassinated.
Okay.
In violence, all the way to April 4th, which this year will mark the 55th sad anniversary of when Dr. King was assassinated. So the families came together to focus on that. In 1998, it was the 50th anniversary of when Dr. Gandhi was assassinated and the 30th anniversary of when Dr. King was assassinated. 148, 168. They saw that those anniversaries, like this year, it's the 75th anniversary of when Mahatma Gandhi was assassinated, the 55th of when Dr. King was assassinated.
Wow.
So what we like to do is connect, like last year online, it was Dr. Gandhi, to someone from that movement. So this year's keynote speaker is Dr. Elizabeth Eckford, who is arguably one of the most famous pictures of the civil rights movement, is that picture of her trying to go to school, just a teenager trying to go to school, and an angry mob screaming at her, saying lynch her, and especially that one photo of that one young white girl screaming from behind her with the mob there. And
we
her
have that photo. Yes, go ahead. We put up the photo, Bobby. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's so important because, as Sean said, that photo has been a Regent's essay question to talk about social change. What is going on in that photo? And so it's not just a photo. She is a three-dimensional living legend in her 80s now, who still tells that story of how she had to have 1,200 federal troops, 1,200 federal troops to have 9 Black children be able to do what Brown v. Board of Education said we were all entitled to. Separate and unequal, go to school. And when we brought young people to meet her, and originally with ACRES, American Civil Rights Educational Services, we brought them to Little Rock to meet with her. And when she told them about the story behind that photo, that every day she would go to school and all those girls would spit on her dress to the point that she would rain it out and it would fill buckets of spit.
Yes.
Why is this important? Because what the young people have told us is when they hear that story firsthand, they value their education on a whole new level. That if she went through that to get the best education possible, that if they're name calling me, I can be Dr. Elizabeth Eckford and thrive. If they are calling me racial slurs, I can be Dr. Elizabeth Eckford and thrive. If they are bullying and excluding me, my dress isn't spit on to that degree. Maybe she did have it even a little worse than what I'm going through. So maybe I can thrive and be a recognized historical figure in the history books who has gotten the Congressional Medal of Honor, the highest award in the United States possible. She's now in the Little Rock Nine. They asked them to put their like handprints in a submarine. Like other statues, they're being honored nonstop now. But you know what? Not enough.
No, you're right.
Young people like to talk about give them their flowers. This is Women's History Month. That woman in the photo is alive, and she is coming to New York. on March 28th. And so this whole tri-state area, come and give her flowers. Let
Yes.
her feel the love. Hear from her firsthand. It will be life impacting, if not life changing, and most likely life changing. I've seen it. We work with a young woman now whose grandmother, when we brought her the first time to meet with her, she's now a young adult. Her grandmother was trying to tell her about, please don't use the N-word like that. I know you spell it different, A, and think it's respectful and friendly, but grandma heard that word and it was scarring. It gave me PTSD. And I'm trying to tell you about the history. It's important. And she was like, Grandma, you're just old. Grandma, you're just old. She came back from meeting Elizabeth Eckford and said, Grandma, I apologize. Grandma, tell me all about the history. And she has a profound relationship with her grandmother to this day. And now she's running a philanthropic wing of a major tech company. And she said to Elizabeth Eckford, we got him on the phone to prep for this coming up. She said, Dr. Eckford, that wouldn't have happened without you.
Wow.
And Elizabeth Eckford felt it. She said, I wonder when I speak to young people, the long-term impact. That's the kind of impact possible if you get yourself there to be physically in the same place. We had to go online, because of COVID for the past couple of years. There's nothing like physically being in the same room with a legend.
Yeah,
Really
I could imagine. And I am excited about experiencing that as well. And even at my age, I still yearn to connect with my, my history and the people who have paved the way for who and what I am doing and who I am right now. So I think that is so very, very important. So tell us a little about Sergeant Danny Garcia. I understand the walking man is also going to be there. So tell us a little about him.
Yes, so Sergeant Danny Garcia, known as the Walking Man, has literally walked around the entire planet pretty much. He has met with 4 presidents, the Pope, Mother Teresa. He has made it his life's mission to do walks because the walks get attention, and he's approaching 80. He doesn't mind me telling you his birthday's coming up. He's going to be 78. Happy birthday, Sergeant Danny. He's amazing, and he inspires young people. And also that connection between those who fight for our freedom, not being barbaric, being people who love peace. That's so important. We have young people that go into the service who learn peace mission. We've had some of them say, my unit, I'm using the conflict resolution skills in the Middle East. And they're like, where did you get these skills? So we want young people to know, no matter what your path, it doesn't have to be that, like, if you need to defend yourself, that you are giving up on a passion for nonviolence, a passion for peace. So Sergeant Danny's message is so important. And he's walking up from Florida, doing a walk again, all the way up from Florida, walks all the way from Florida to here, little walks all on the way to raise funds for charity, to call attention to young people, to promote peace. And he will be walking into our event and presenting a flag to Dr. Eckford, who also, because of those 1,200 troops that President Eisenhower had to call in, National Guard was there to protect her, the Arkansas National Guard. She went to them 3 times and thought, oh, they're going to help me get in, and was so shocked that those men with guns needed to be so mean to a little girl like her. But then with President Eisenhower, and that's because of the pressure of the whole country and the eyes of the world in this medium, in its old form of television, putting the pressure on, he sent 1,200 troops to escort them in. And when she talked to the young people, she's like, they're my heroes. They were so wonderful to see that those men this time were on our side, to see that was possible. It turned it around for her. And she chose to spend 5 years in the military as an adult doing service too. So, like, people of service find so many ways to be of service that don't often fit the stereotypes. So by having Sergeant Garcia and Dr. Elizabeth Eckford, who both served in the armed services, as well as being peace advocates and peace activists, and changing the mindset of a country, if not, and actually the world in many ways, is going to be so powerful. And we also have young people singing to them from all over the tri-state area. We have young people dancing to inspire. We have Harriet Tubman herself, which is an actress that has made it her mission, her passion, to present Harriet Tubman presentations to young people. So much that's going to be there. And that's why Learn, Lead, Serve Inc. has for the past many years been the prime sponsor, along with Pathways to Peace and so many other organizations. That Sean said that if we named all the partners, it would take an hour. But like we like to partner with so many organizations, and please, know that so many groups contribute to this event, and we're just like the overarching house where all these amazing groups come into and help us put on this event that is going to be singing, dancing, keynote speaking, probably some tears, a lot of cheering. And we do a world flag ceremony where we have all the flags of the world represented. And there's an organization that started in Japan called May Peace Prevail on Earth International that started that. It's been every Gandhi King Season for Nonviolence event. And so the whole world will be there with beautiful young faces waving the flags, and us literally ending with messages of peace, and then talking about how we're going to take this day forward. So it's not just a day, but how we're going to use this inspiration to bring back to every school and to every community. And that's why we want every community. If you are watching this, go to GandhiKingSFN.com, get your tickets. They are getting full. We just got 100 new students from Newark today,
Nice.
100 more from Staten Island, 100 more from Brooklyn. And, so we want Long Island. And until that place is full, we will and by the way, not just for students. If Grammy wants to come, if a young person performing and wants to bring auntie, you want to bring your cousin, you want to bring your pastor, senior citizens, because it is a school day trip, ask the seniors to come out. They might have stories about their own about when they saw the Little Rock Nine on TV and how it impacted them, or marching in Selma or something like that. So it's going to be, as always, amazing.
I could imagine. I'm looking forward to it. And I have been spreading the word. And I've been telling parents, even if you got to take your kid out of school for the day, you do what you need to do to make sure they're part of this amazing event. I want, real quick, before we go, Sean, please tell me something that you want us to know about this event, or how important it is for all of us to be there, and what is on your heart.
This event is life-changing. For some children,
it is that moment that they look back on as a touchstone. For adults, it can be a recognition of what their experience was. For teachers, it brings history to life.
And for everyone, it's a call to action. You can make a change in your community, in your little neck of the woods. And if I make a change, and LeShawn makes a change, and Lindy makes a change, before you know it, we've changed the community. And if you've changed the community, you can change the world. And I want everyone to know that they live with that type of power. You don't have to be a negative stereotype. You can change the world as a doctor, as a nurse, as a sanitation worker, as an engineer. Just find your passion, lean into it, do the work, embrace your faith, and go and move forward.
Yes. Amen, my friend. I love it. So we're going to put up the event real quick. It is happening March 28th. It is on a Tuesday. So I'm so sorry, everyone. I won't be here on that Tuesday recording the Your Our Unity show, because I will be at the Gandhi King Season for Nonviolence event. And I am super excited. Please, my Long Island people, get out there. Please, there's the website there, GandhiKingSFN.com. Go on there, check it out, get your ticket. I am so happy and so glad that you guys came. Thank you so much, Mr. Crescitelli and Mrs. Landry. I so appreciate you. I really, really do. It is going to be an awfully beautiful event, and I cannot wait to meet you guys.
Thank you for having us. We are so excited and welcome to be here. And we just want to continue to spread peace.
Yes, and we will, my friend. So I want to get real quick to the Dare to Be You. And it is so simple. One dream can change everything. And literally, that is what my guest just said. Mr. Crescitelli, as well as Miss Landry, made that it so clear that all you have to do is believe in the dream and just put in the work, make it happen. Put in all of the passion and drive and desire that you have into that one thing that you know is your purpose, and move forward in it. And with the support of your family, your community, as well as people like Mr. Crescitelli and Miss Landry, there is nothing in this world that you will not be able to achieve. So I'd like to thank you both for being here. I truly, truly appreciate it. We want you guys to check out this event, please. Mr. Crescitelli, before we go, I think we got maybe 30, 40 seconds. What would you like to leave us with?
I want to see you, just like I want to meet LeShawn. I want to see you. Tell me you saw us on this program. You are our unity. By being at this event, you are living our unity. So I know it's going to be busy, but wave, or when you go to the website, there's a little thing of how you found out about us. Say you found out about us from You're Our Unity, okay? So we know that impact, and we will share those names with LeShawn so she knows the impact she's having, and that you probably, I always say, you never forget who brought you to your first season for nonviolence events. And you never will. You really won't. And so for some of you, it's going to be LeShawn and us. Let us know that. The tickets are free, thanks to wonderful sponsorships. New York Society for Ethical Culture, our hosts, donating the space. It's a beautiful hall. Young people are going to be on the same stage as Ed Sheeran recently. We tell them that you can watch a video of Ed Sheeran performing there, and now our little children from all around the tri-state area get to be on that same stage. It's a beautiful day. Come out. We have professional musicians as well performing, as well as young people. The one chorus was recently the ones at the Rockefeller Christmas tree from the Bronx, and they were also Kelly Clarkson show. So, and now they're going to be at our event. So we have little famous young choir from the Bronx too, and ones that have never been on a stage like this. So my message is seriously, and as she said, I'm a former teacher. You will have a pleasure writing that note. Try to get the school to come. If not, my child was meeting people from the history books, and so I thought that was a valuable day for them to be out. They'll do an essay on it, whatever. If they want a letter from us, it is, as Sean said, it's a touchstone moment for people's lives. Yes. It is that powerful an event, or we volunteer at this event. Sean and I and everybody on our committee does not get paid to work on this event currently. And all these hours are put in with love because we see the impact. So come out. It's free. We'd love to see you. Until we sell every seat, I sell. That's right. Until every seat is full, we'll keep taking reservations.
I hear that. It is imperative. I'm sorry, real quick.
Please go to Eventbrite.
Yes, go to Eventbrite. And for all those that know me, that I sent out the text messages, just click the link. That is it. It is imperative that we all be there. It's about love, peace, and unity. And that is what we are sharing at this event. And we want you to move it forward for the rest of your lives. I love you guys so much for being here. Please remember that peace and love is in the palm of our hands. Let's go out there and be some love, give some love, and share some love. I will see you next week on Your Our Unity. Please have a wonderful week. I love you. And you guys have a good night. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Good Thank you. Looking forward to seeing you on the 28th of March.
Yes, you will.
Strong Island Entertainment.